Look, you have to be a little weird to want to get up on stage and belt out poetry like life's main character, but even in that context, some musicians stand out for taking it pretty far. Blues rock duo the Black Keys has some very impressive feathers in their musical caps, including 5 Grammys among countless other awards and nominations. The Black Keys' 2019 hit Low High made Billboard history as the first song to top all 4 rock airplay charts at once. They've had some unusual experiences on their journey to stardom, and that starts with their name. The duo's dads knew an artist named Alfred McMore, who suffered from schizophrenia and left them up to 30 voicemails daily. Sometimes he called people a Black Key when he was upset with them. For the Black Keys, the road to prosperity was sometimes a little gross. As the duo recounted to NPR, they used to travel to concerts in a minivan that reeked of urine. After a gig in Seattle, they were paid $500, which was valuable gas money for their ongoing tour. Drummer Patrick Carney guarded the money in the minivan and went to sleep, while guitarist and vocalist Dan Auerbach went to a party. Eventually, Carney was awakened by his full bladder, but didn't dare exit the minivan after peering through the window and seeing 30 guys in Santa Claus suits at 2:30 in the morning in the middle of July. In a state of sleepy confusion, he tried relieving himself in a cup, but didn't succeed, and they had to live with the results for the rest of the tour. Jack and Meg White were a 1-2 punch of talent that gained international fame, as well as 6 Grammys for songs like Icky Thump. Formed in 1997, the White Stripes' 2 members sported jet black hair, wore matching attire, and were pale as vampires. In 2001, Rolling Stone declared the White Stripes one of the year's next big things, and by that time, Jack and Meg were presenting themselves to the press as brother and sister. And that's where things get weird. While the White Stripes' music was the real deal, the band's backstory was anything but. Jack and Meg, who were not brother and sister, became man and wife in 1996 and divorced in 2000. So why did they lie to the press? In 2005, Jack told Rolling Stone that he was concerned that people would pay more attention to the relationship than the music, so they pretended to have the same parents. As spouses, Jack suggested people might assume that they were using the band as a way to save their failed marriage. The 2 musicians remain notoriously private about their personal lives. Queens of the Stone Age was one of the biggest bands in rock in 2007, so it was a real treat when the residents of a California drug rehab center learned that they'd get to enjoy a private concert from the group, led by frontman Josh Homme. Homme had a friend at the center, and he wanted to uplift the patients, according to an interview with SF Weekly. The band didn't even get through 1 song before rehab center staff pulled the plug. That's because the band opened their intimate engagement with the song that also kicks off its 2000 album, Rated R, Feel Good Hit of the Summer. It turns out that shouting the names of a bunch of addictive and easily abused substances wasn't the move, and security quickly removed Queens of the Stone Age from the building after just 1 song. Behind the scenes, the Eagles, the group behind hits like Take It Easy and Peaceful Easy Feeling, were not at all peaceful or taking it easy. Take it easy. They were so beset with tension that it led to a nasty breakup in 1980, following a disastrous concert that nearly ended in a fistfight. In July of that year, the Eagles played a benefit concert for the re-election campaign of Senator Alan Cranston. Band members Don Felder and Glenn Frey remember that night differently, but both recall how quickly it went south. According to Frey, after Cranston thanked the crowd and the various musicians present, Felder, who wanted to remain apolitical as a band, sarcastically replied, "You're welcome, Senator, I guess." Felder recalls things differently and later wrote in Heaven and Hell, My Life in the Eagles that he'd quietly made the remark to the senator's wife, but that was it. Frey came over while we were playing The Best of My Love and said, "F*** you, I'm gonna kick your ass when we get off the stage." The sound crew had to turn down Frey's microphone so the audience wouldn't hear his threats, which he delivered after most every song. After the show, the fight continued. Felder smashed his guitar against the outside wall of the venue, and that was the end of the Eagles. For a little while, at least. British invasion band The Zombies experienced a wild popularity trajectory in the US. Its first singles, She's Not There and Tell Her No, went top 10 in 1964 and 1965. Please don't bother trying to find her, she's not there. But despite their musical talents, The Zombies' later singles totally flopped. The lack of success led The Zombies to break up in 1967, only for the defunct band to hit number 3 in 1969 with the single Time of the Season. What's your name? Who's your daddy? It's like The Zombies had come back from the dead, and a company called Delta Promotions wanted to make some money off of their sudden second life. But the thing is, Delta didn't even bother to recruit the real members. They sent out 2 groups of hired musicians, both of which toured under the Zombies name. Delta Promotions told the stand-ins that the original Zombies had been an anonymous studio-only band and that they owned the rights to the songs. Neither of those things was true. And while the bootleg Zombies from Michigan were regarded as nearly perfect clones of the original group, their Texas counterparts didn't fare as well, and critics quickly grew suspicious of the band's different, more blues rock sound. The Texas Zombies clones, falsely christened the original Zombies in promo photos, included Frank Beard and Dusty Hill, utilizing the stage names of Dee Cruz and Chris Page at the time. Those 2 musicians would go on to become founding members of the popular blues rock band ZZ Top. Delta Promotions would eventually shut down after facing mounting pressure from the many bands it cloned. According to legend, Eric Burden of the Animals showed up at a fake Animals show with a baseball bat and a bunch of bikers, marking the end of the Imposters. Nobody knows why Pizza Hut's ad agency approached weirdo rock band Ween to write a jingle in 2002. Maybe it was as simple as seeing the word cheese in one of their album titles. Whatever the reason, the technically proficient but highly experimental band was asked to write some music praising stuffed crust pizza. The duo went to work, but they found Pizza Hut to be a very difficult client to please. The resulting jingle was perfectly in Ween's usual style, but the ad reps didn't like it and kept demanding retakes.
Where did cheese go? I don't know.
After Pizza Hut rejected a 7th version of the song, Where'd the Cheese Go?, Ween recorded an 8th version with new lyrics that were almost the same as on the previous attempt, with a few changes.
Where did the motherfucking cheese go? I don't know.
Unsurprisingly, Pizza Hut didn't use any of Ween's recordings, and the relationship ended. Combining elaborate costumes, wild theatrics, and purposely offensive shock rock and sci-fi lore, GWAR is in a realm of their own. They claim to be alien warriors who came to Earth to kill and enslave humanity, but so far they've just been spraying their audiences with unknown fluids and cranking out weird rock albums. When a band's entire identity is to be as extreme as possible, how can it top itself? It ventures into the boring world of daytime talk TV. Remaining totally in character, GWAR members Oates Urungus and Beefcake the Mighty visited the Joan Rivers show in 1990.
Let's give her a hand. Here you go. Don't you like it?
A puzzled Rivers inquired about the band's mission.
Well, basically, we view the human race as scum. We are indeed from another planet, you know, and human beings we see as food.
The conversation continued with discussions about how Barry Manilow stole their music and stretching dinosaur guts across the Grand Canyon, much to the surprising delight of Rivers and the audience they easily won over. Van Halen are in a class all their own. Trained pianist and self-taught guitarist Eddie Van Halen reinvented the electric guitar, making the instrument mimic animal sounds and wailing away so fast you'd swear he was playing a stringed machine gun. Meanwhile, on-again, off-again vocalist David Lee Roth was the ultimate showman. Goofy, gaudy, and gleefully ridiculous. And what's more ridiculous than a rock band that demands concert promoters provide bowls of M&Ms backstage, but absolutely no brown ones? That was a serious request, too. As David Lee Roth tells it, the concert writer explained exactly what would happen if band members found brown M&Ms backstage.
The promoter would forfeit the entire show at full pay.
It sounds like a case of celebrity egos gone wild, but as Roth explained, the outlandish request was actually a precautionary measure. Van Halen concerts involve sophisticated lighting and stage directions, and if they weren't followed to the letter, it could lead to unsafe working conditions. Finding brown M&Ms was a telltale sign that promoters hadn't bothered reading the technical specifications in the concert writer. Pretty clever, eh? When it comes to post-grunge, it doesn't get much grungier than Puddle of Mudd. Not only is the band named after wet dirt, but frontman Wes Scantlin is often compared to grunge icon Kurt Cobain. Unfavorably compared, that is. Critics have bristled at Scantlin's stage persona. For example, Variety called him out for mimicking Kurt Cobain during a live concert, and even said his performance was annoying. As time went on, Scantlin became less of a Kurt Cobain clone, but started behaving more and more erratically.
Wes Scantlin is being held on disorderly conduct charges. He was arrested for an incident at Mitchell International Airport.
Earlier this year, he was arrested at Denver's airport for riding on a luggage carousel.
One of the most glaring examples of Scantlin's unhinged behavior? According to NME, he attacked a neighbor's patio with a buzzsaw. That neighbor happened to be electro-pop musician Sasha Gradiva, who claimed Scantlin's behavior stemmed from a long-running feud. Gradiva said Scantlin envied the view from her patio and lashed out in creative ways, like blocking her lovely view with flags and a tent. In 2016, Scantlin reportedly rigged his car to look like an improvised bomb, and his outrageous behavior affected multiple neighbors. He was allegedly trying to scare away would-be thieves, but his stunt ended up attracting the bomb squad, and they immediately ordered nearby residents to evacuate. Led by the legendary Iggy Pop, the Stooges were pioneers of punk in the 1960s and 70s, and all these years later, Pop hasn't exactly mellowed with age.
Can't you see I'm in pain?
I don't care about the money.
Where's my integrity?
Although Iggy Pop occasionally wore dog collars and sang the 1969 classic I Wanna Be Your Dog, you should never ask him to dog sit for you. In 1973, he reportedly fed Valium to his girlfriend's dogs, Puppet and Furburger. According to The Guardian, Pop's girlfriend found him lying in a bathtub with her two pets, which prompted the rock star to calmly reassure her, "I'm a dog lover, I know a lot about animals." Thankfully, the canines recovered, but only after getting turned away from St. Vincent's Hospital. Oh, and here's another furry anecdote involving Iggy and the Stooges. In 1973, Elton John pranked the band by storming the stage in a gorilla costume. Pop was reportedly under the influence of something or another, and he couldn't tell whether he was hallucinating or seeing a real gorilla. He later said of the incident, "I was like, oh my god, what can I do? I couldn't fight him. I could barely stand." Guitarist James Williamson was also unprepared for the hairy surprise and said that Elton John came very close to getting a guitar smashed against him. Fortunately, Elton John revealed his true identity before things got violent. The name Hall & Oates sounds like part of a complete breakfast. In fact, Early Bird Foods and Company even named a breakfast cereal Hall & Oates, prompting the musicians to sue in 2015. Of course, prior to that trademark battle, Daryl Hall and John Oates produced tons of rock classics. Since releasing their debut album, 1972's Whole Oats, which also sounds like breakfast cereal, they've written more hits than you can shake an oversized drumstick at. There's the infectious head bopper You Make My Dreams and the moody melodramatic Man-Eater, to name just a few. But when Hall & Oates first met in 1967, they were busy getting away from knife-wielding high schoolers. As Hall told The Independent in 1998, "I was about 17 or 18 years old and I had a doo-wop street corner group called the Temptones. Meanwhile, Oates belonged to an R&B band called the Masters. Both groups were slated to perform at a Philadelphia venue. But then things got a little crazy." As Hall remembers it,
"We're just ready to go on, and we're looking outside and I hear this bang, bang, and there's guns going off."
He explained to The Independent, "A fight broke out between rival high school fraternities, which really were just gangs with Greek letters. As the frats started attacking each other with chains and knives, Hall and Oates both hurried for the exit, and that's how they wound up meeting. The rest, as they say, is rock and roll history." Enigmatic Doors frontman Jim Morrison would no doubt be remembered as a legend no matter how he died, but the suspicious circumstances surrounding his death add an extra layer of mystery. Morrison's lifeless body was discovered in a bathtub on July 3, 1971, but his untimely demise went unconfirmed for nearly a week, and an autopsy was never conducted. There were loads of conspiracy theories at the time. Did Morrison fake his death? Was the CIA covering it up? As founding member John Dinsmore told Huffington Post in 2013,
"No one I've ever met would be more capable of faking their death than him."
There's another eerie component to the singer's death, specifically in regards to LA Woman, the last Doors album Morrison recorded. In a weird bit of foreshadowing, Morrison recorded the vocals for LA Woman in a bathroom. According to Rolling Stone, the Doors decided not to record the album in a high-end studio, opting instead to create the record in the cluttered Santa Monica Boulevard workshop where they often rehearsed. Morrison reportedly tore the door off the bathroom and recorded his vocals in there. The last vocals he ever recorded for the Doors can be heard in the song Riders on the Storm. That song entered the Billboard charts on the exact same day Morrison died. A creative mind can find artistic inspiration in even the most heartbreaking circumstances. Known for whipping it good and wearing energy dome hats, Devo formed in response to the Kent State shooting. According to history, the shooting lasted a mere 13 seconds. For several days in 1970, students at Kent State University protested then-President Richard Nixon ordering the invasion of Cambodia. On May 4, 1970, Ohio National Guardsmen opened fire and killed 4 students. Among them were Allison Krauss and Jeffrey Miller, both of whom were friends with Devo co-founder Gerald Casale. As Casale told Vice, "I saw the blood running out of Jeffrey Miller and Allison Krauss from their exit wounds in the noonday sun." On top of dealing with the trauma and loss, Casale was also profoundly affected by news coverage of the event.
The stories were lies. The way the media portrayed it, of course, gave me an early lesson in distortion and how what you see isn't what you get.
According to Vice, Casale was an art student who already had a bleak worldview at the time. In fact, he'd already been using the term devolution and its abbreviated form Devo to describe what he saw as a decline in American values. However, the Kent State shooting created a sense of urgency that ultimately inspired the formation of Devo, a rock band that used Dadaist humor to sharply criticize modern society. Dave Matthews Band has given the world plenty of hits, including Crash Into Me and the Grammy Award-winning So Much to Say, which shouldn't be confused with that other hit. What would you say? As for the secret of his success, Matthews told CBS This Morning in 2019,
"I've been incredibly lucky."
Well, some of his luck ran out in the summer of 2004. According to NBC Universal, the musician was traveling by plane when he first learned that a tour bus had dumped 800 pounds of human waste into the Chicago River. What's worse, a lot of that waste reportedly landed on a tour boat carrying over 100 sightseers and splashed horrified passengers. For his part, Matthews said he initially laughed at the news, totally unaware that the bus belonged to his band. So how did this happen? According to court records, the bus driver stopped at a bridge and unloaded the liquid ickiness while on his way to pick up a band member. In 2009, Matthews opened up about Poopgate, telling the Kara's Basement podcast,
"I regret that enormously, and I know some people in there accept my apology."
As part of an out-of-court settlement, the Dave Matthews Band reportedly paid $100,000 to Chicago-based organizations and agreed to pay $200,000 to an environmental fund. As frontman of the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Jimi Hendrix set the world and his guitar on fire. His breathtaking rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner at Woodstock is unarguably one of the defining moments of the 60s. But here's a little-known fact. Shortly after that concert, Hendrix was reportedly abducted and went missing for about 2 days. Inexplicably, nobody called the police. According to Rolling Stone, people close to Hendrix claim that Hendrix was abducted by mafia gunmen and held in upstate New York in a dispute involving a recording deal. Infamous cocaine trafficker John Roberts was accused of assisting in the kidnapping, but he insists he helped rescue Hendrix from two, quote, wise guy wannabes. Supposedly, these wannabes abducted Hendrix after spotting him at a mafia-run club while he was trying to score drugs. They demanded an unspecified ransom from Hendrix's manager, but released the musician after being threatened by some genuine gangsters. Some people believe Hendrix's manager Michael Jeffrey staged the abduction. Musician Buddy Miles, who performed in Hendrix's trio Band of Gypsies, accused Jeffrey of drugging Hendrix with LSD in a scheme to ruin the group. Why? According to the book The Essential Jimi Hendrix, Miles believed Jeffrey wanted to bring about the return of the Experience lineup. We may never know what really happened here. Formed in Melbourne, Men at Work landed their first record deal in 1981 and quickly became hugely popular, even nabbing a Best New Artist Grammy Award in 1983. That same year, the New York Times wrote, "This year's music business success story has been Men at Work, who came out of nowhere, also known as Australia." According to the Sydney Morning Herald, their 1981 hit Down Under also became, quote, an unofficial Australian anthem. Impressive rock and roll resume for sure. But in 2007, a joke question on the music quiz show Spicks and Specks spelled serious trouble for Men at Work. Contestants were asked what Australian children's song featured prominently in Down Under.
Kookaburra sitting in the old gum tree? That's exactly right.
Apparently, the catchy flute section in Down Under lifts portions of the 1934 song Kookaburra Sits in the Old Gum Tree. To be clear, the Kookaburra song only has 4 bars, and Down Under contains 2 of them. After the episode of Spicks and Specks aired, the company that owns the rights to the children's song sued for royalties and won. Many people were displeased with the outcome.
Copyright law lasts for life plus 70 years, and I think that is an excessive period of time.
Here's Trevor Conamy, author of Down Under, a book that delved deeply into the bizarre lawsuit.
Most people seem to consider that the outcome was wrong.
And I share your view, Trevor. I think it's absolutely outrageous.
Following the lawsuit, things took a heartbreaking turn for Men at Work's Greg Ham. He reportedly had to sell his home and allegedly began drinking and taking heroin. He passed away in 2012.
After the ruling, Ham said he was terribly disappointed that that's the way I'm going to be remembered, for copying something.
Pink Floyd's otherworldly albums explored the dark side of the moon and the dark side of mankind, and their 1977 album Animals painted humanity in a particularly negative light. Described by Guitar World as a bitter masterpiece, the album skewered British society in sprawling songs that were seemingly about pigs, dogs, and sheep, but were actually about politicians, businessmen, and the complacent masses. It's an iconic album, and it's also the reason a large inflatable pig wound up drifting through the London sky, causing a whole bunch of drama. For the album cover, bassist and singer-songwriter Roger Waters wanted to photograph an inflatable pig hovering between the smokestacks of London's Battersea Power Station. But all hell broke loose when it was finally time to photograph the 40-foot-long monstrosity. As graphic designer Aubrey Powell told the website Sow Your Soul, the chain broke and the pig sailed up 20,000 feet, ending up right in the center of Heathrow air traffic. According to Powell, airport flights were grounded while the Royal Air Force searched high and low for the missing inflatable creature. And according to Guitar World, a pilot reported seeing a flying pig, and was subsequently forced to take a breathalyzer test. Fittingly, the pig eventually landed in the fields of a farm, where its brief taste of freedom ended. That'll do, pig.
That'll do.